Alrighty, I'm just gonna make a quick video here about my labrynth deck profile. With lightning storm getting hit down to 2, it does make this deck a little bit more viable for us. So unless people are siding a lot of back row hate, this deck has gotten a little bit of a buff. So anyway, I just want to go over real quick just the deck list that I have going here. So starting off, we are going to be running 3 copies of Lady Labrynth of the Silver Castle. She's just kind of your boss monster. It's a main deck monster. We don't really use our extra deck a whole lot. However, I will go over the extra deck here in a little bit. So she's just going to be your power card. Definitely needs to be run at 3 copies considering it is our boss monster. And then there are things like Kashtira that do banish cards from our main deck, so we are going to be running 3 copies there. I do run 1 copy of Lovely Labrynth of the Silver Castle. Just great support. She can't really be special summoned from the hand. It can be special summoned if you have the field spell from hand or grave, but in most cases you're going to be looking to send it and then special summon it back. So first off, you only need 1 copy of it. And then we do run 1 copy of Labrynth Archfiend. This card is definitely underrated in my opinion. The fact that it can set a trap card directly from deck, it can special summon from hand, and then also the fact that it can get really big really quick. Just depending on how many traps you have in grave. I am going to be running that card at 1 copy. We do also run 3 copies of Arianna. Main searcher for the deck. She is easy normal summon. She can actually just be normal summon, set back row, pass. So it is good to keep her at 3. And then I do run 1 copy of Ariane. Ariane can normal summon, send a trap, and then special summon Arianna, which can go into Xyz plays. It does also give you a draw if a monster leaves the field by a normal trap effect, just as Arianna does. So if you have them both out, it's a draw 2 anytime a monster leaves the field by a normal trap effect. So very powerful. We do also run 1 copy of each of the furniture cards. So we run 1 chandraglier, 1 stovie Torbie, and then 1 cooclock. These 2 work really well, especially if you have both. You can activate Stovie Torbie, send himself and another one, so you send chandraglier, or vice versa. You activate the other one, send them both to grave, set your welcome labrynth. Then if a monster leaves the field by a normal trap effect, this one will special to field, this one will add back to hand. Then you activate Stovie Torbie effect on field, send to grave, and then send the chandraglier to grave for setting another labrynth spell or trap from deck. So great combo there. I would like to play it at more copies, but you don't want to see too many in your hand at once. So for now, we're just going to be running the 1 copy. I do run 2 copies of Absolute King Backjack. He is a great combination with going into almiraj. You normal summon him, link him off for almiraj, gets the effect to look at the top 3 cards in your deck, place them back in any order, and then as soon as your opponent's turn starts during draw phase, banish to reveal and set a normal trap if you did have the option to do that. Currently, I'm only running 1 copy of Lord of the Heavenly Prison. I do side other copies. It is a great card, but it can be outed as well. So we're just running it at 1 right now. Best plus in the deck is going to be 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. I have seen some people run Prosperity. I'd rather just the +2 than the dig, or yeah, the +1 instead of the dig. I run 1 copy of Labrynth. This is going to be your way to special summon out the Lovely Labrynth. And then it does also have pop effects, which add on to your Welcome Labrynth cards. And then can also special summon from the hand or grave any fiend monster. And we run mainly fiends. I run 3 copies of Big Welcome Labrynth. I feel like you just got to max out on these. Welcome Labrynths are just so powerful, important in this game. So I run 3 copies of each. Welcome Labrynth and Big Welcome Labrynth both have their own purposes. And then I am running a Dogmatica package in here. So I'm running 2 copies of Nadir Servant. You can run it at 3. I've just chosen to go with 2. We are running 2 copies of Ecclasia the Virtuous. Again, can be ran at 3, but I am cutting just for deck size, so we are running at 2 copies. I run 2 copies. Oh, actually, I do run 3 copies of Dogmatica Ecclasia. Shows how well I organize my deck before these videos. And then I do have 2 copies of fleurdelis. Great search off ecclasia, so definitely 2 there. And then we run the 1 copy of Dogmatica Maximus. And then moving on to just our basic normal traps, we are running 3 copies of compulsory evacuation device. This is going to trigger all of our effects to go. And then I run 3 copies of Dogmatica Punishment. I was running at 2 just because it is a once per turn, but just with the effects of being able to send extra deck monsters from your main deck to the graveyard, I feel like running at 3 is okay. I do also run 2 copies of Dimensional Prison. Now we are running the Labrynth Archfiend. Labrynth Archfiend allows you to set a normal trap card from the deck that can only be activated during the battle phase, and Dimensional Prison does fit within that, so being able to set that from deck is great. And then I run 1 copy of Torrential Tribute. This, if you don't have many monsters, you got a bunch of back row, you set it, blow up the field while they start going out in their combos, and sometimes will stop and win you games. I do run 1 copy of Bottomless Trap Hole. This is just spot removal. You get something out, you really just don't like it, just get rid of it. It can also be set off of Lady Labrynth when you activate a normal trap, so can be with all of the other normal traps as well. And then we run 2 copies of Trap Trick. This is why I'm running 2 copies of Dimensional Prison. In the case that we don't see Labrynth Archfiend, you can use Trap Trick, banish 1 Dimensional Prison, set the other one. But yep, that's what we got for the main deck. If you do have any questions about how this deck runs, I can also make a combo video, and if you're interested in seeing that, please just like, comment, subscribe, and let me know that's what you want to see. Moving on to the main deck, we do have a few interesting options here. I may max out on certain ones just depending on how we go. Starting off, I do run both of the fossil cards. They aren't instant pops when they send to the grave, but at any point after the fact, it is it's an effect that can only be activated on your turn. So if you were to activate punishment on your opponent's turn, on the following turn on your turn, you can banish this card from the graveyard. Doing Skull Wagon will allow you to pop a spell or trap on field, and then if you send Skull Knight, that will allow you to pop a monster on field. Since we are running the Dogmatica package, we are running 1 copy of titanklad because it will allow you to get into your Dogmatica package, especially with us running at a lower card count. I do also run 2 copies of zombiestein. I have been thinking about getting 5-headed Link Dragon, just because his base attack is 5,000, so with Dogmatica Punishment, you can basically pop anything that you want. Mind you, some of these cards also can be sent off of Nadir's Servant. I do also run 1 copy of Psyframe Lord Omega. Just because of his effect being sent for cost, he can also put himself back into the extra deck. So it's basically a free cost for you. If you were going to go into any Xyz plays, I do run 1 Heartlandraco. This card just allows you to punch your opponent for 2,000 attack if you really just need that little bit of extra damage to go for game, or if you are running into time, it is a good option to go through. You can actually run additional copies of Arianna in the extra in the side deck, so if you do need a side for game 3, this is a great option to go into. And then since we are running a dark deck, I do run 1 Dharc the Dark Charmer. And then for fiends, we do run 1 Muckraker of the Underworld from the Underworld. I don't really use them much. Most of the time they are just used for fodder for extravagance. Since we're running 2 Backtrack, I do run 2 copies of Almiraj. And then we run 1 garura for draw power. So if you do want to send and get a +1, that is a good option. And then probably our best send is going to be Elder Entity Nis. So I do run 3 copies of that. That's going to conclude our extra deck, and then we are going to move on to the side deck. So for the side deck, again, we are running Labrynth Archfiend. If we're in a case where things can't be banished, or they're preventing banish, or banish benefits your opponent, we do have other side options. So I do run 1 copy of Magical Cylinder, which can really catch people off guard. We are running 1 farewelcome Labrynth. Again, this is a welcome Labrynth card, so it does have a lot of functionality with the field spell. And then we do run 1 copy of Mirror Force. So just depending on our situation, we do have this to tap into. I do also side 2 copies of Ice Dragon's Prison. Some decks it hurts, some decks it doesn't, so I do side it, but it is an option for us to tap into when needed. I do run 2 copies of Gozen Match, 2 copies of Skill Drain, 2 copies of Rivalry of the Warlords, 2 copies of Summon Limit, and then last but not least, we have 2 copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance. And then these floodgates, just depending on your situation, what decks and what matchups you're going up against, they all have their place and you can side them in accordingly. Unfortunately, they're all continuous, so none of those are going to be normal traps. So again, just depending on your situation, you may need to side them in, or you might just keep them in the side. But yep, that's going to conclude our Labrynth deck profile. This is going to be for June 2023 post ban list. If you have any questions, just let me know. And then don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Thank you.